How did Victor Osimhen end up from being the 8th best player in the world, winning African Footballer of the Year ahead of players like Hakimi and Salah, to signing for Galatasaray, who even failed to qualify for the Champions League in 1 year? Osimhen's life and career is a fascinating story. I'm gonna cover everything from how 15 minutes changed and maybe saved his life, to his unique career that is not like many others. Born in Lagos, the largest city in Nigeria, he and his family struggled. Osimhen lost his mother at an early age. Soon after, his dad lost his job. This forced Victor and his siblings to work and collaborate to survive. In his childhood, Victor Osimhen had to earn a living selling water on the streets of Lagos. Buying football shoes was a distant reality. He and his friends would climb to the top of the Uluson landfill, hunting for dirty shoes, often with different brands on each foot. His dad wanted him to be a doctor, but Victor had other plans. He wanted to be like his idol, Didier Drogba.
Who is your role model?
Didier Drogba. Because he's the kind
But you're not as big as him.
of course. Yeah, because he's the kind of player I would like to be as a player and as a person. Because
Starting his career at the Ultimate Strikers Academy in Lagos, Osimhen got invited to a mass trial for Nigeria under 17 in 2014 after impressing a scout. The trials were in Abuja, the nation's capital, and more than 300 miles away. Osimhen had never left Lagos before and certainly couldn't afford a plane ticket. He and 5 others squeezed into a car and drove for 10 hours to get there. It was so many players at the trials that each player was only given short games of 15 minutes. Victor Osimhen took care of his time. He scored twice. Amuneke, the former Nigeria and Barcelona winger, also awarded as the African Player of the Year in 1994, was the coach who decided the squad. He was not immediately impressed by Osimhen, but his assistants convinced Amuneke to give him another chance. After giving Victor another try, Amuneke got impressed by his desire and hunger to succeed. Osimhen finally got the opportunity. He was called up and ready for the under-17 AFCON squad, and he did not disappoint. Victor Osimhen was the top scorer with 4 goals in 5 games in the tournament, but it was the under-17 World Cup in Chile where he made his name. Nigeria won the whole tournament, where he scored 10 goals in 7 games. That earned him the Golden Boot as the top scorer and the Silver Ball for the second best player of the tournament. This, with no surprise, led to interest from the biggest clubs in the world. In the end, he signed for the German side Wolfsburg, where the opportunities for the first team seemed more likely than the other teams who showed interest. Osimhen officially joined Wolfsburg in January 2017, but things didn't go quite well. Soon after arrival, a troubling knee forced Osimhen to undergo 3 surgeries. A shoulder injury required another operation, and it wasn't until 4 months later that he made his debut. When he returned to Nigeria in the summer 2017, Osimhen was stricken by malaria and forced to spend a month in recovery, ruling him out of the preseason. There were also difficulties on the field. He was played out of position, on the wing. Nobody was quite sure what to do with this talented but unrefined kid who had just arrived in Europe. A new sporting director came in. He did not see the talent who had dominated the Youth World Cup. Instead, he saw a young kid who had made 16 appearances over 18 months without scoring a goal. In the summer 2018, the Belgian club Charleroi took Osimhen on a loan without a fee and agreed a price of €3 million for a permanent deal at the end of the season. They took the risk, ignoring the medical red flags, but it paid off. Osimhen finally showed his potential. After a successful season with the Belgian side, scoring 20 goals, Charleroi sold him to the French club Lille for around €15 million. He continued his great form in France, scoring 12 goals in the league and 18 goals in all competitions, becoming Lille's top scorer. He was awarded as Lille's Player of the Season. The biggest clubs in the world wanted him. On July 2020, the Serie A club Napoli announced the signing of Osimhen for a club record fee of 70 million euros, potentially rising to 80 million with add-ons, making him the most expensive African transfer. The first 2 seasons in Napoli, Osimhen struggled with some injuries. In 2021, the striker suffered a nasty facial injury after colliding with Inter defender Skriniar. Osimhen was left with a fractured eye socket, a required 18 metal screws and 6 plates inserted into his face as a result of the injuries caused by the clash. And since then, he has been wearing his well-known mask. Even with the injuries, he still showed some of his great talent, scoring over 10 goals per season, but the big breakthrough came in his 3rd season. Napoli won the Serie A for the first time in 33 years in 2023. Last time they became champions was in Maradona's legendary days. Osimhen was Napoli's most important player, finished as the top scorer in the league with 26 goals. His performance was so exceptional that he was ranked as the 8th best player in the world on the Ballon d'Or list. Osimhen's wild dream also came true, winning the African Footballer of the Year in 2023. He was the first Nigerian player to win the award since Kanu, who won it in 1999. After Napoli won the Serie A title, Spalletti, who was their manager, left the club to lead the Italian national team. Rudi Garcia was appointed as the replacement for Spalletti, but the French manager had a difficult start. When Napoli played against Bologna in the league, September 2023, Osimhen missed a penalty kick and was substituted by the coach in the 86th minute. The striker reacted angrily to the substitution and yelled at Garcia over the decision. The game ended 0-0, but it was Osimhen's reaction that was the headlines. To blow up things even more, a video from Napoli's official TikTok page was mocking Osimhen.
You give me penalty. Thanks. I'm not a boy, and I'm not a girl. I'm a coconut. I am the coconut, and I'm a coconut. Coconut. My coconut.
In reaction to the footage, Calenda, Osimhen's agent, threatened legal action against Napoli. Consequently, Osimhen also deleted all posts about Napoli from his Instagram page. Osimhen was not happy and only had 1 year left on his contract. The clock was ticking desperately for the club. De Laurentiis, the Napoli owner, needed to extend Osimhen's contract to get some money for him. In October 2023, Napoli in a statement accused Osimhen of changing his mind after verbally agreeing to sign a new deal. December the same year, Osimhen signed a new deal right before the AFCON tournament. The new deal doubled his salary to around 10 million euros per season, with a release clause of around 130 million euros. Both parts hoped that the release clause would be triggered in the summer 2024. When everything seemed to calm down, there would be more scandals. In January 2024, Jugeli, agent to Kvaratskhelia, who was Osimhen's teammate, accused the Nigerian with lack of ambition. The agent told that Osimhen was driven by money and the striker was soon moved to Saudi Arabia, adding that his client Kvaratskhelia is focused on the top European clubs. This resulted to an angry response from Osimhen on his Instagram page. He described the agent as disgrace and criticized his sense of reasoning. Despite having a troubling season with injuries, problems off the pitch and playing in AFCON, Osimhen finished the season with 17 goals in all competitions for Napoli. Napoli had 3 different managers during the season. They ended up at 10th place in the league, making them the worst title defender in the Serie A history. Napoli and Osimhen had to make a change. With no surprise, Osimhen handed over a transfer request to the club as the transfer window opened. Shortly after, Napoli appointed Conte as their manager. He made clear that he expected Osimhen to leave. The club signed Lukaku from Chelsea as the replacement for Victor. It also looked like Osimhen would replace Lukaku at Chelsea.
Yes, it's about Victor Osimhen. I can tell you that Chelsea made Victor Osimhen their final offer this evening, and with 20 minutes to go until the deadline, they still have not heard back from his camp.
However, the move failed due to a disagreement over Osimhen's wage demand. Chelsea reportedly offered the striker €4 million per season, a fraction of what he earns at Napoli, and lower than many players at the Chelsea squad. Al Ahly were also interested in getting Osimhen into the Saudi Pro League. Napoli had initially accepted the €80 million for the striker, who would have earned €40 million per season. But the Italian club reportedly demanded another €5 million added to the deal, prompting Al Ahly to look elsewhere and sign Ivan Toney from Brentford. Following the collapse of the potential transfer deals, Osimhen was not registered for Napoli's squad and was in danger of not playing club football for months. The Turkish league was one of the few leagues who still had the transfer window open, and Galatasaray reacted quickly. Gardi, the Italian agent who has brought players like Icardi and Mertens to Galatasaray, was the key factor behind this loan deal. He reached out to Galatasaray, telling them there was an opportunity, but it had to be done quickly and secretly. Osimhen was already convinced when he heard about the interest from Galatasaray, but even more convinced after a video call with their manager, Okan Buruk. Galatasaray and Napoli agreed on a one-year loan deal. Osimhen again extended his contract with Napoli to 2027, reportedly a new release clause to around €90 million.
Victor Osimhen to Galatasaray. Here we go. The deal is done for the Nigerians.
That Napoli have given the green light for Victor Osimhen's loan move to Galatasaray.
To Galatasaray. I think arguably this will be the biggest signing in the history of Turkish football.
Yeah.
Galatasaray is a well-known club for Osimhen. His idol, Drogba, played there before. Also his former and now teammate, the Napoli legend Mertens, played there. Mentioning names like Drogba and Mertens, icons like Roberto Carlos, Hagi, Samuel Eto'o and many others has played in the Turkish Super League. But never has one player in that caliber signed in his absolute prime, what's making this transfer so unique. Victor Osimhen had a dream start for Galatasaray. In 4 games he got 2 goals and 4 assists. The striker terrorized Mourinho's Fenerbahce away and played a huge role in the derby, where Galatasaray won. Osimhen's fantastic start made the fans believe that Galatasaray could win the Europa League, what they managed to do in 2000, beating Arsenal. This is seen as perhaps the greatest achievement done by a Turkish football club ever. Victor Osimhen and Galatasaray has something to prove. Maybe they'll fit perfectly together.